Hi, this is Dan Aykroyd. He's progressive. He's beautiful. He's thoughtful. He's intelligent. He's powerful. He's positive. He is Stephen Cuoco on Power 98.5 Satellite Radio.
You're listening to Power 98.5, powered by United Angels Dream, your number one resource for public relations, entertainment, and multimedia. Contact them today at unitedangelsdream.com.
Empowering listeners from the US to the UK. Live on air with Stephen Cuoco.
How do you like that introduction, Tanner?
Not bad. Not bad. Dan Aykroyd, the man.
Oh, yeah. I love him. Iconic. I love having his face right there in my media kit.
There you go. Exactly.
Thank you to everyone for tuning in. You are listening live on Air with Stephen Cuoco on Power 98.5 Satellite Radio. All the latest and greatest in news, sports, entertainment, reality TV, and more. Looking forward to talking more about the project I recently got back from, was in San Francisco for about 2 weeks, filming Between Places, playing the character or the role of Jeff in Amir Jaffer's Between Places. Extraordinary director, producer, writer, challenging, exciting, and I definitely grew a lot from that experience. We have with us today, I can honestly say, and I don't care if I'm being overly presumptuous, but a new friend, now that I've acquired some sort of rapport with you, Mr. Tanner Beard. Shall I do the introduction properly?
Yeah, that's well, you did. It's Tanner Beard.
Tanner.
Yeah.
Tanner. Really?
No, come on. No, nice to meet you, Stephen. Thanks for having me on, and it's been lovely to get to chat with you and a fellow thespian and jack of all trades as yourself.
Exactly. And Tanner did ask me, what are these things behind me? Well, you know what? I got done paying for storage for 5 years with a lot of my stuff and being in multiple states. So I decided to bring a lot of my camera film equipment here. And these are all backdrops for photography. So that's what
I was hoping they were like old, like vintage 1930s posters that are like too large to put anywhere. That was your collection of them, but it's just as good.
Who says it's not maybe a little bit of that too? I don't want anyone to come here and believe it.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Tanner is an Emmy-nominated actor, producer, director, and writer, has steadily built a multifaceted career in the entertainment industry spanning film, television, and media production. As the CEO of Silver Sail Entertainment and co-founder of the Mammoth Film Festival, Beard's work has touched multiple genres, from westerns to comedies, and his influence continues to grow both in front and behind the camera. I'm going to say you are multifaceted, Tanner, where you are elevating everywhere, including social media.
Well, when you write it, they have to believe it. So I just, no, I'm kidding. But how lucky am I to get to dabble in all sorts of the entertainment industry, moved out to LA just to be an actor. And then you soon realize if you want to have a career, you better start doing some other stuff pretty quickly. I'm sure you can speak to that. So whatever's making me movies and I'm getting to have fun, then that's what we're doing that day. But as a red-blooded American, it's a lot more fun to be in front of the camera as often as you can.
Oh, well, that's why I told you I took the leap of after 35 years getting back into acting, because I'm ready to make it about me now. I mean, I've got so much talent, embodied in
bottlenecking, yeah.
To where my head's exploding, just like, when is it my turn? When is it my turn?
The great thing about the occupation of acting is it doesn't matter what age you are. There's always a role. There's always a story to be told for any person, any age on the planet. So it's amazing.
We've got to talk about, you're in Texas right now, or where Atlanta.
It's shooting a movie in Atlanta currently, and then I'm back to Texas within a couple of days. But it's great. My family was able to come down, so we're getting to experience the big ATL. It's actually lovely here in Atlanta, but I'm in Fort Worth, Texas right now.
How do you like it?
Atlanta or Fort Worth?
Both.
Fort Worth is home now, for sure. I moved out of, I lived in Toluca Lake in Los Angeles. I'm sure you're very familiar, but I lived there for 23 years, man, and that was my life from 18 to now. Essentially, Rachel and I just moved out of our home in January. Officially, we had been living in Fort Worth off and on for about a year, but we're officially there now. And it's just, man, it's just more my speed. I'm from Texas originally, from Snyder, Texas. Shout out to Snyder High School. But anyway, it's just my family's close to there. Our ranch is close to there. It's not Dallas, it's not Austin, and it's just like I said, more my speed. And obviously, what Taylor Sheridan is bringing to that area makes me feel like I didn't turn my back on Hollywood. I just evolved with it, and just like I said, it's just a lot more my pace there. I'm not too impressed with the current condition of Hollywood. Hollywood's just a museum to me now. Los Angeles is just a museum to me now, and lived there for 23 years. So I can definitely say that the current leadership there is almost like they want everybody to leave. So they're getting what they wanted. And look at it in Atlanta. Atlanta's beautiful, man. It's lovely here. So, I don't know. Times are changing.
Golden nugget here for you. Fun fact: I graduated from Sprayberry High School in Marietta.
Oh, no way. That's where we're shooting, is in Marietta.
Marietta, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So I make the little commute when they call me in. So that's great. Yeah, lovely, lovely over there. It's crazy. I didn't realize how many like trees and just the beautiful vegetation here. But I'm sure we're gonna not bore the listeners with tree talk. So
I'm sure they won't. They know how I roll by now. It's all about authenticity.
it's all about the ferns and the willows. No, but even I'm standing on a high rise. This is what my friend Michael Milligan and I were just talking about the other day. I'm standing on a high rise in Midtown, and in 15 minutes, we were having a coffee at the Chattahoochee River, and it was just stunningly beautiful. And I'm like, wow, I can see the appeal, because this is my first time to be shooting in Atlanta on a picture, and so I really do get it. But I'm Texas pretty loyal, so I'm all about Fort Worth right now. That's what we're doing. I've even building a studio there. Silver Cell Studios opens up May 2nd, so excited about that.
Really, all yours.
Silver Cell Studios, man. Look, we're not like the size of a Costco or anything, but I noticed, just in the independent film community, and a lot of people do shoot in that area. You have to go to like Dallas or Austin or someplace else, or buy antiques for, your costume or your wardrobe department, your costumes, your props. And there's just nothing that really offered that in the Fort Worth area. And so Silver Cell Studios, as we were expanding, my production company there, I was just like, well, we have so many things. And so we've, the last 3 months have been working on building wardrobe department, props department, some standalone sets, some permanent sets, and some production rental equipment for those kind of indie filmmakers coming, trying to keep it in Fort Worth or DFW area. Nothing against Dallas too. I mean, they're so close together, like you don't even know where one stops and one starts. But specifically Fort Worth for me. So
congratulations. That's huge.
Thanks. You got to come by and check it out sometime, man. Yeah.
It's called Give Me the Address.
Yeah. We'll just we'll set up.
I want to come. No, seriously, I want to come. I haven't been to Atlanta since I graduated. That was in 1992. But from some of my friends, and I know Cynthia Bailey from the Real Housewives of Atlanta, it hasn't changed since 92. It has, but it hasn't.
And it hasn't. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't know, but I'm looking at the Turner movie building here, so I know some stuff's been going on.
I can't wait to work with you. I don't care whether you believe it or not. I believe it because I'm telling you, you've got it going on. Listen, you're the next version of Steven Spielberg, but in your genre.
Okay, I'll take that. I have been called worse, so appreciate that. Tanner Spielberg is what I'll change my name to.
There you go. I don't mind that. I doubt anybody else does either. You want to dive right into what you're doing now, the project, before I get to some of these good questions I have for you?
Yeah, I do appreciate the time to speak, and I'm so proud about what we have coming up down the pipeline. So much of independent filmmaking is make it and then try to get it out for, as a 3-year period goes by. It just takes a long time, these movies. And we have a film called Blood Behind Us that, believe it or not, has been ongoing for 8 years. This movie, it's a testament to every filmmaker that's been a part of it. never leaving the project, because everything that was thrown at this movie was during this, 8-year period. It survived some actors that were originally attached, not being able to do the movie, passing away. Obviously we started shooting some of this during COVID, and then that stopped, and then we couldn't come back. And then the script had to evolve. And then the people that were playing, your young actor roles have now aged 3 years. And what do you do? And it just kept morphing into this thing. New talent came on. It was Michael Madsen's final film. I know everybody's kind of claiming that they have Michael Madsen's final film, but we were there with his family. We were there with him. We were there very close to his final days. And he loved this movie so much because he plays such a great character. And it's not a cameo. It's not like he was like there for 2 days. He filmed with us for 3 weeks and just was really into the movie. It's a shame he didn't get to see the final product, but we're so grateful and saddened to have his last performance. But for that, we cherish it. Jamie King, another person from that kind of Robert Rodriguez, Quentin Tarantino world, along with Michael in this film. Brendan Gabriel Murphy is just, he recently won the Tim Burton Visionary Director Award. So him at the helm, telling the majority of this story was just incredible. And I do have to give some props to a gentleman named Sean Hart that, started filming this movie back in 2018 when we started, or 2019 when we got started. But great actors in this thing. It's a story that nobody's really ever seen because it kept having to evolve. I get lucky enough to star in this picture, not necessarily because I was even my own first choice, but somebody had to kind of ride this wave for 8 years and keeping a centralized character. So I hope that, I kind of brought something to the table there for an audience to enjoy. But it's just such a testament, more so than it is about, hey, we made a movie, to not giving up on a picture in the independent film world and never letting your work, kind of fall off to the wayside. Because how many movies have we all done where it's like, yeah, I did that movie and it never came out. Nobody ever got to see it. And it's like, I know we all do it because we love it, but also we do it for a little bit of this too, So this picture is one just that I could talk about for days and days, and I'll try not to on your show because I know we have a time limit. But we do have another movie that Silver Cell Entertainment, my production company, just produced, and it's a lot of the same people came on board of this one too. We're starting to really build a family, but it's called One in a Million, based on a true story, a lot different genre than Blood Behind Us. So that's what's kind of cool, is it's two juxtapositions. This one's about a real story about a family who just really struggled with their kid's ailment and what not only he had to go through, but what the entire family did to deal with him being in the hospital for over 200 something days, and what that can do to anybody, and the doctors, what they had to do. It's just this incredible true story where divine intervention truly played a hand in this story. And for that, it's I really think it's going to register with any audience in the world, because it's, you can't beat a real story, but it's definitely one worth seeing. Stars Ashley Greene, Corey from the Twilight Pictures, is, she's done a billion movies. I think she still gets recognized from that the most. But and then and my cousin, actually, Russell Quinn. He's a phenomenal actor. We've done like 15 something movies together, but he stars and is playing his best friend in the movie, who the story's about, the Cassis family. So just again, so much to talk about, but just wanted to get those movies out there. April 26th at the Dallas International Film Festival. Those movies are going to be playing, and we just invite everybody to the Texas Theater out that weekend. It's kind of cool. We get kind of a double back-to-back movie block. Never in my career. It's been like, I can't believe we have 2 movies world premiering on the same day at the same film festival. How lucky are we? So anyway, there's 2 hours of me talking.
I appreciate it. Chinese theater, film festivals, anything, where are they going?
So that's the good point. That's the hard part about the independent film world, right? You got to get out there. You got to plug your movie. You got to come and talk to great people like you about them. Hopefully that your audience and the people you reach can help us, because that's what we're here to do. Is help each other in this hard community that we all love so much. But I will say Blood Behind Us is heading to the Cannes Marketplace. I know that we have a screening there, which is huge for any movie, just to be going and to be associated with Cannes in any regards. So we're very excited about that. It's already kind of gotten some buzz during the Berlin Film Festival with, some of our early trailers for it, but just to get to people to see it, that's everything, right? It's not the engagement is not with your poster and your trailer. It's come watch the movie, sit down, relax, watch the movie. And we're so lucky to get to do that at Cannes. And then Blood Behind, excuse me, so that's Blood Behind Us. 1 Million is so brand new. We're literally just finishing it in post a couple of days before we actually screen it in Dallas. So I'm sure I'm going to be sitting there like watching it like, uh-oh, we have to go back and fix that. But it's an amazing team behind it. So shout out to all the producers at Silver Cell for making this happen so quickly. Never in my life have we finished a movie and had it out so fast. So incredible team. Thanks everybody at Camp Lucky and everywhere else. But yeah, a lot of fun, man. There's a lot of stuff coming up.
One of the things I encourage you to do, which I suggest, Tanner, is I'm a juror for Brave Maker Film Festival out of San Francisco.
Oh, cool.
Tony owns that. If you want to reach out to them or looking at maybe putting an email or something together to get that in there would be huge. They've got a good lineup this year.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. I'll follow up with you about that. Absolutely. Thank you for that.
Absolutely. You ready for some? Did you feel that you got everything in? I mean,
yeah, thank you for that. Thank you for the soapbox. I appreciate it. So, yeah, April 26th in Dallas, everybody.
Just to remind everyone who's tuning in live on Air with Stephen Cuoco on Power 98.5 Satellite Radio, we have Tanner Beard. He's a writer, director, actor, producer, talking about his latest projects and more. If you end up missing this episode at all, you can head on over to any of your favorite podcast platforms and check this episode out. It will air again. Check the local schedule on either power985.com. Download the app. It's available on Alexa, all for free. Don't complain. No membership required. All free for you. You ready?
Like a pro, done so well. Yeah, let's do it.
When you look at your career from the outside, what's the one chapter people completely misunderstand? And what's the truth you wish they knew about the moment?
Wow. Well, man, that's such an amazingly layered question. Nobody cares about the early stuff, I guess. You know what I mean? It's all about the now. But who are you to not know your footprints behind you? And hopefully you left some good tracks in the sand. I would say, I don't know if I can answer that question properly. It's just too complex, really. But there was a time when I was just kind of first starting out, my own production company, there was a writer's strike. And I was like, man, I'm a young, non-working actor in Hollywood, and it's 2008, and I've only been out here a couple of years. And I don't know how to survive in this industry, because if you aren't working, you really aren't working now. And the people who have been are struggling too. So I was like, the only thing I know to do is just create my own production company. Hell, I've been making my own movies in my backyard since I was 16 anyway. Like, what's the difference? You know what I mean? And we created this web series called Valley Peaks that just kind of started off as a joke. I was like, hey, why don't we make like a Mexican soap opera, but in English? This is hilarious. It's very like tongue in cheek and just ridiculous, but we were young kids and having fun. We used everything we had, our own furniture and set pieces and stuff were just our apartments we were living in. But it really became like a film school, and working with like-minded individuals and understanding how passion can facilitate more than a budget can sometimes. You know what I mean? And to learn that very early just made me want to kind of repeat it, work with the great people. I like the independent film space. I think we all strive to want to be in Marvel movies and stuff because they're what we consider glamorous, or at least I do. And I think that has changed for me in the past. So to kind of answer your question, I think it was just this moment in time from 2008 to 18 where I just kind of learned what I wanted my place to be so lucky enough to be in this industry, as opposed to what I felt I was either owed or striving to perform to be. I just love the genuine storytelling aspect of like independent films. And don't get me wrong, man, again, I'll never stop striving to go and do bigger, better, faster, stronger. But I do love the community of where I'm at and the people that I work around and have for the last 20 years. So
perfectly expressed. See, you got the question.
Yeah.
You've built a reputation for creating opportunities rather than waiting for them. What's a door you opened for yourself that completely changed your trajectory, even though it terrified you at the time?
Yeah, thank you for that. I'll never forget it. I was so lucky I got to do 4 movies with Terrence Malick at a very early age. I was in my early 30s or just turned 30. And I feel like I had no business being even mentioned anywhere near that or at that production level. But I had done a movie called Hellion with Sarah Green, and I was able to speak to her, and she really liked just the way that movie went and the way we went about it. And it was kind of a terrifying jumping off point for me because I didn't really know what I was doing with these massive I mean, the people that started these movies was like Christian Bale, and Brad Pitt produced one of them, and Natalie Portman, Kate Blanchett, Michael Fassbender. It just sounds like I'm going down the top 100 of IMDb right now, but this is who Mr. Malick was working with. And so I got to just kind of take a step back from like where I thought I maybe wanted to go as an actor and just say, man, what an amazing opportunity to just go learn some stuff real quick. But I will say I forfeited about 2 or 3 years of trying to like audition and get a manager and play the Hollywood game and find that avenue as, an artist, I guess, so to speak. But I learned so much by just taking a step back and learning how to kind of produce movies, what gets them done, what doesn't get them done. No matter how big a name on some of these projects, they still have to tackle the same hurdles. And also as a producer, what you learn is you just kind of have to go in a straight line and deflect every single problem that comes your way, and you're just putting out fires, putting out fires. And to learn that there is no way to do it except for to get it done is probably the most valuable thing I learned at that pivotal stage of my life. Because you got to think like from 30 to 33, like an interesting time in any human's life. I think it's a giant transition period. You're going into your 30s, you're not at your 40s, but what are you doing? You know what I mean? You're getting experience, but you don't have experience at this level yet. So hopefully I just took like a huge leap of faith and it worked out. But now that I'm 41, I feel like that was the most critical decision I had ever made, was to actually take a step back and continue to learn more, because you don't know everything in this business. And man, some great teachers there. You know what I mean? So pretty incredible time of my life that I'll definitely cherish, sitting on the Berlin red carpet next to Christian Bale and Natalie Portman. Like, what am I doing there? The picture actually proves it, because I learned that when you do like the turn, I didn't necessarily turn. And so then I lost my place in like the long line. And then when I turned back around, and everybody was already facing the other way, and I'm trying to get my picture taken, and then I just kind of like edge up behind Natalie Portman after that because I didn't know where else to stand. And it's the most ridiculous picture ever. And I always try to humiliate myself with that to anybody. I'm like, go look at this picture at me, the second round at Berlin Film Festival in 2015. I look like I snuck onto the red carpet after that and was just kind of peeking over because I lost my place in line. The learning curve, it's important.
I can find that photo if I Google it, right?
Yes, you will. Yeah, just Berlin Film Festival, Tanner Beard being a out of place actor.
If your life had a blooper reel, what's the scene that would make the audience laugh so hard they need a moment to recover?
I almost shit my pants in a death scene one time. I farted on set, and it was probably the funniest thing in the world, because it's this death scene and it was like one of my first movies. But I wanted to do this like I got stabbed, and I wanted the audience to see it in my face, but they heard it in my ass. So just came to
No.
yeah, it was the funny, and like I'm not even ashamed. It was hilarious. Like I'm kidding. If you can't point a finger at yourself and laugh, shame on you. It was the most embarrassing thing ever, but it was also so funny. Sorry, I keep getting 1,000 texts. It was the funniest thing ever, and I was just like, well, can't use that take, But it's, what are you gonna do, man? You're just. I was going for it in a very vulnerable moment, but the chili dog I think I had for lunch also made me even more vulnerable.
Oh, that was daring. That's
Yeah,
daring.
it's 25. And again, sometimes it's 2 step forwards and 1 fart back. So
That's awesome, though. I don't know why I have to say it, but it is awesome. Like how
Oh, I
many
could have
people
told a
would
much more unhumiliating story. I'm sure I have many, but that one came to mind first. So
That's perfect.
you're welcome, listeners.
As both an actor and director, what's a creative instinct you've used to second guess that you now treat as non-negotiable?
Well, I just hate it when everybody's not recognized on the crew. You know what I mean? Growing up, having to make movies like in your backyard, you learn that every single role is important. I think as a director, I get so involved in like, what is everybody wearing and why? What is the set color of this room and why? What down to like, did they clip their fingernails that morning and why? You know what I mean? And maybe it's just either micromanaging is a problem I have, but it's, if you collaborate with everybody on every single part of it, then it makes the symphonies a little bit better. You know what I mean? Like you can be the orchestrator as the director, but at the same time, it's like if you sat with the violinist and you talked about certain elements of like, hey, in this spot, why don't you guys come up with a riff right here? Because we can, you know what I mean? There's a moment that transitions into the cellos that you guys can come up with. You don't need me for it. I've already given you the direction. You become the artist. And I feel like if you can do that with every department head on set, it is a bigger collaboration. Or it's okay when somebody comes up and he's like, hey, what if he wore, a purple shirt here? Because he just came from this or something. And I'm like, that's awesome. It's like, and I get credit for it as the director, which is great. No, I'm kidding. But you go and you collaborate with everybody. So it's never a dictatorship, but there is direction. And then everybody can come and play. And then it just becomes like a nice Led Zeppelin-esque band where everybody gets their moments and everybody can shine because everybody's so good at what they do. But it's talking and knowing what you want too. So coming in strong with direction is so important to me. And then playing with your actors and then and making sure that you get the best actors on the planet. I love to work with my friends, not because they were my friends, because my friends are so talented, and then it's like, well, I know you can play this role. And a lot of times it might be a smaller role that elevates the whole movie because they came and played it. You know what I mean? So anyway, kind of long-winded answer to your question, but
If you had to direct a film using only household items as props, what genre would you choose and which items become the unexpected star?
probably a lamp because you're going to need to light it cool, So I gotta find a cool lamp, and then if it's cool enough, that lamp can become a character. But it's both things that you need: light, story, and history. So you find a lamp that tells the period, and you light with it. You can use it for shadowing and telling a story any way you need. That or just a solid toaster, Who doesn't love a solid toaster?
And a toaster, depending on the material, will illuminate.
It's got to be a reflective toaster so you catch the natural light off the window and it lights their eyes. That's an amazing question. I don't know. I probably have a horrible answer, but I'm going to go with awesome lamp. I don't know.
I respect that. And I was wondering exactly what sort of item you would pick. And it's perfect. For you, it's perfect. That answer.
Huge lamp guy.
Huge lamp guy. What's a moment on set, either in front or behind the camera, where you realized you were no longer the same artist you were 5 years earlier?
Man, that may have even happened recently. I am so God blessed to be on a show called Landman. I don't even know if I'm coming back or what's happening. Nobody gets to know about Landman, so I just sit and I'm thankful for where I've been at it. But sitting there talking to Billy Bob Thornton before I actually shot, he was so incredibly kind and giving that day that we actually sat, me, him, and Jacob Laughlin, who plays his son on the show. We sat outside of his trailer that day and just shot the shit, man. And he was so kind and cool. We could talk about, things outside of the business, like some people that we had, had mutually known in the past. There was a gentleman named Powers Booth that's from my hometown, great actor, and I know was a good friend of his that had passed away several years ago. And I was just like, man, do you have any cool Powers Booth stories? And and then was telling about him, Powers and Sam Elliott all knew each other. And my favorite movie is Tombstone. which all three of those gentlemen are in. He told me how he got on Tombstone, and it was just like a very kind of surreal and cool moment because, not only is he the star of this show that's one of the biggest shows in the nation right now, but it's still just Billy Bob Thornton. I mean, he's larger than life and just cool as hell. Probably one of the coolest people I've ever met. And I got to say, Ethan Hawke, I just recently worked with, and he was right up there too, man. It was like those kind of life-changing moments to where, again, it's always learning, just learning from the greats and getting yourself in a position to where you can even share the screen with them is such a blessing. But you just never, I try not to take it too serious and just try to be grateful for it so I can continue to do it. If I think about it too long enough, I don't think I could live it. I'm not there to reflect yet, but to reflect now, those guys are two very special individuals that I'm very, grateful to have gotten to know and share the screen with, for sure.
It's on record. Season 3 is coming back, right?
Oh, it's coming back. Yeah, I think they start shooting in August.
Well, you're supposed to be in it. You should be in it.
Let's go.
I'll have
Hey,
a chat with
I wasn't even sure if I had died in the second one. They don't really tell me a lot, which is kind of nice because then it's so fresh when you get it.
I hope you are. I really do.
Me too. Me too. Let's go.
Mm-hmm. If someone studied your body of work like a map, what hidden theme or personal truth would they discover running through every project, even the ones that seem unrelated?
Man, well, I hope they don't seem too related. I like to play a completely different. Maybe that's what it is. I truly try to dive in and make myself as unrecognizable as possible in each role, even though with this big dumb body, it's hard to hide. So I'm not gonna be playing any doctors with this 6'6" frame, but yeah, maybe that's just it. Is that you might see the similar face, but it's not the same person. That's what I hope they take out of it. Because if you see me and you know that it's me, then I haven't done my job very well. If you watch me in 4 things and say like, oh shit, I've kind of forgot that was the same guy. That's what I'd hope you take away, is getting lost in the performance as opposed to recognizing like, oh, that's the guy from so-and-so. I like it when they're like, wait, you were in what? I don't, even when we got on, you're like, oh, you don't look like I thought you did. I'm like, great. That's the idea. Because if not, then you get typecast and I get typecast anyway. I'm like, it's blue collar or villain or something. But dude, I just want to go play like a sword wielding Viking, but I'd have to move out to Ireland or something for that. I'm living in the wrong country to go play, swords in Scotland. So just doing my oil field pirate stuff right now.
I would want to see you in something endearing where you are, whether it's blue collar or anything, however, you're a man that's struggling, but yet you have faith. You know what it's like to endure, and you adopt a child that no one wants. And in that story, in that reality, you both find your complexities are actually your salvation in each other, where you both heal and grow from.
Yeah,
that's
a beautiful story. Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate that. Well, maybe Blood Behind Us will be up your alley because you hit about 9 out of the 10 on that one for sure. That's probably the greatest thing I've ever been able to do was Blood Behind Us. It's such also getting to shoot over the course of 8 years. This character is on a trajectory that you just don't see coming, and I think the audience is like, wait, I thought he was. Oh wow. Oh okay. So to get to play that, I appreciate that. But yeah, this is just got to get that damn thing out there.
Oh, you're going to be fine. You've, and I'm not just saying this to say this, and I'm sure you should know by now after our interactions before this, you're ready. You're ready.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
The number one recommendation I have is, you're not all over the place, yet it's important that other people who you have conversations with don't leave the conversation assuming you're too busy, too preoccupied, because the way conversations go, these conversations are not being had because people are quick to assume, to stay safe, to not either offend or overstep by thinking, oh, Tanner's busy, he's got these projects, why offer him a role? Why invite him? So make it very, very clear whether you are
interesting to what I think is so funny. Obviously, having a production company, it's so interesting you said this. I just had a conversation about this the other day. It's so funny once you get into this business, and it is a movie business. You know what I mean? We love the art, we know that, but it is a movie business, and it's so funny to me because I am an actor as well. You have to kind of play both sides of the coin, and I understand that we're stocks just like anything else when it comes to the business side of it. But I love it when you get on a phone call or a Zoom with a bunch of people, and everybody kind of starts throwing out names for this project. And everybody becomes the leading expert on other people's lives based off of how they know them through either social media or seeing them in movies. Let's just say like Kevin Bacon or something. Like, oh, Kevin Bacon's not doing anything right now. We should make an offer to him. And I'm like, how do you know what Kevin Bacon's doing right now? You know what I mean? Or like, oh, he was so good in this horror film. I think he would like this. It's like, how do you know? I love, and maybe that's the fun aspect of it, of having, these people be items instead of, like, well, what if his dog is sick and he's dealing with that and that's why he's not reading your script. You know what I mean? Maybe he's going to his like son's concert or something. You know what I mean? It's like, that's why they're not reading the script. It's always the wildness of a producer's imagination is always just such a funny aspect of things. But I just love how people become the leading experts on other people's lives and why they would or wouldn't do their movie. But anyway, I just wanted to highlight that.
well, here's the proof. I could have assumed your schedule and your availability, or maybe lack of. This interview wouldn't have happened if I went on an assumption.
True. Yeah. And, I appreciate you reaching out and actually saying like, hey, let's just chat directly, because I am a bit on the schedule, but guess what I'm doing today? Nothing. I'm not back on set till tomorrow. It's Monday and I'm chilling. So I appreciate you just being a normal human about it. Not everything has to be done through an assistant or a secretary. So thank you.
You're welcome. What's the most hilariously inaccurate assumption people has made about you because of a role you played or a photo they saw online?
This hasn't happened in a decade, but the very first movie I did, I played an Irish person, and I don't think the accent was bad, but it's the worst part of Ireland's accent. It's like the Cork, County Cork, Ireland accent. It's all whiny all the time. I did that one instead of something cool because I researched the character was from Cork. And then when I would meet people that saw the movie, they'd be like, oh, you're not Irish. Oh, your accent is awful then. But when I was Irish, they were like, yeah, that guy's Irish. But I'm like, I'm confused. Did I not fool you? I know the accent's annoying, but it's even to other Irish people, I've been told this is not me making an assumption. This is years of research. But they're like, oh, you're not Irish. Oh, well, I don't believe you now. And it's like, well, I think I had you before you knew me. Again, I don't want people to, like, stay Irish then, because then they'll like the story more. But yeah, it hasn't happened in a long time, but there was an assumption that I was from Ireland for a while. And that was kind of fun until that ran out. Also, people meet me and they're like, holy shit, you're huge. I'm like, yes, I'm a giant human being. So
6, right?
So I tell everybody the cat's out of the bag now. I tell everybody I'm 6'4" so I can work. Because even if I was shooting, I'd be like, oh man, this guy's 6'6". He's gonna be hard to film. But yeah, I just slump over a little bit more than I should. But yeah, I'm 6'6", dude. I'm a big dude.
I don't know if I want to. Where I would like to pick the best of the best. I'm going to go with this one. What's a risk you took in your career that didn't pay off the way you hoped, but ended up teaching you something you now consider essential to your craft?
I made a documentary about Bone Thugs and Harmony that I kind of put all my eggs in one basket in with my production company. And I do feel like that from like 2015 to 19, we spent making that documentary off and on. It was obviously not a lot, but it was a lot of time spent dealing with music industry that I did not know. I didn't realize how corrupt the music industry was. It was an incredible personal experience. I mean, dude, I got to be on the road with Bone Thugs and Harmony, which, I'm just a small town kid from Texas. I grew up kind of listening to them. I was a DJ for a while. I was into all music, but who didn't love some Bone Thugs? You know what I mean? And I just couldn't believe that, like, what we were getting to do with them. And in the meantime, we're like getting to make music videos for them and just a lot of different avenues of getting to meet so many different people through, being on tour and stuff with them for a while. But that movie never came out. There was some complications with the music contracts and getting the signatures of 28 people in one song and it was all just journalism. But we just learned that we made a great movie, but unfortunately we weren't able to get it going on the music side that made sense without dumping tons of money into it that didn't make sense as a documentary. So we were able to screen it at a few festivals and stuff, but ultimately it never came out. It's called Sons of St. Clair. And that I don't even look at it as a failure. I don't, but it was really just a personal learning experience that I can take everything. It's almost like what not to do. Sometimes you need a big kick in the face failure to just really accent what does work and you appreciate it more. You know what I mean? You can win a Super Bowl, doesn't mean you're not going to come and play back next year. And even if you don't make it back to the Super Bowl, you may be there in 2 years after that. You know what I mean? I mean, look at Tom Brady's career. He could have stopped several times after his victories, so to speak, and it just wasn't enough. Spielberg could have stopped after Jaws. There's a lot of things that just, sometimes failures don't make sense at the time, but we did make a good movie. It was a great film. I wish more people could have seen it, but that's the business, man. You know what I mean?
Where you've got exceptional projects coming out now.
Thank you. Thank you. I hope so. I hope they register with an audience. Very excited for them to see them finally. A lot of seed planting,
I like this one. You've collaborated with a wide range of storytellers. What's a piece of direction or advice that permanently rewired the way you approach performance or filmmaking?
Well, I did get the luxury of not necessarily being on set every day with, Mr. Terrence Malick, but so I used to study him in film school, and then, cut to like 10 years later, I got the opportunity to be a part of his projects. And I think he is just such the Albert Einstein of filmmaking, that shaped me as to learning about the beauty of film. And also the DP was, Emmanuel Lubezki, who won like 3 Academy Awards in a row. So those two as instructors, to be a fly on the wall and just observe and see what kind of beauty they made. Not necessarily these movies won Academy Awards or anything like that, or they registered with every audience member on the planet, but they were just something that was so different from what I grew up even watching. I'm more of like an Indiana Jones and Gladiator type of person. You know what I mean? Like that's my influence, Braveheart, my influence. But seeing these more like art house pictures just really kind of broadened my spectrum of how you can enjoy a variety of movies. This movie's jazz and then this movie's heavy metal. It doesn't mean you can't like both and listen to both. You know what I mean? So yeah, getting to work for Terrence Malick or, just being associated with him was probably the greatest thing ever. But I've always been a Tim Burton fan as well. And I was very fortunate enough at the Burbank Film Festival to win the Tim Burton Award, the Tim Burton Visionary Award, with him in the room and, him being there for the trophy presentation. That was probably the coolest thing that's ever happened to me personally. But on the teaching side, Terrence Malick, just Terrence Malick and Tim Burton, dude, just some small names. I think those guys, if they stick with it, they're going to be just fine.
If you could preserve one emotion, one energy, or one internal state from your creative process and bottle it for the days you feel stuck, what would it be?
Always remembering that you get to be there. You don't have to be there. You get to be there. And there's been several times where I actually heard a gentleman say this. We were shooting this TV show called The Lowdown recently, and they had some extras that you can kind of hear. And they're like, they come up to you and, I try to be approachable and everything else, even though I try to stay in the moment, but I'm next to some of these background talents. And he's like, "Hey man, are you SAG?" And I'm like, yeah, I'm SAG. He's like, how do you get in SAG? You know? And I'm just like, oh, well, where do I begin? I actually don't know because I got in 2006. I don't even know what the rules are anymore. But you see that these people are inquisitive. And I heard him say such an interesting thing. He was like, two actors, Ethan Hawke and another gentleman, were going back and they're doing coverage. And so obviously they're having to do the same scene over and over and over and over. And then you're just, now the camera's facing this way and you're in the back. So you just keep doing it over and over with them, even though you don't have lines in this one. So this guy came up and he's like, hey man, do you think they get tired of that? And I'm like, no, because they get to do that. They don't have to do that. They get to do it over and over. They get to add little something new every time. And this isn't a play where you've gotten to do it 100 times before that curtain goes up. This is like you get to do it twice in your trailer, and the first time you're even interacting with that person is probably that moment. You might get in one line reading during your rehearsal with them before they're calling action. You're required to be a pro immediately with really no rehearsal time or very little. And some actors just feel like they don't want to go bother the other actor. You don't have time to know their process. Do you want to run lines? Do you want me to fuck off? Do you want me to, what do you want to do? You don't get that. You just have to go. And I'm like, they get to do that. So that's my soapbox on that.
If you could cast yourself opposite any fictional character from any universe, cartoons included, who's your co-star and what chaos do the two of you cause together?
God, what are me and Wile E. Coyote gonna do?
Yeah.
What are me and Wiley gonna come up with? Yeah, I'm gonna just choose Wile E. Coyote. He's my favorite.
I love him.
He
Do
just
people
never
even
gives up, bro. He just never gives up.
like I
Yeah,
asked?
brilliant ideas. He could order food. He could order food because he orders so many gadgets, and he just decides, no, I'm a hunter. I request a hunting as my passion. I'm a hunting enthusiast.
Do you even think people know who Wile E. Coyote is? I'm impressed you know who Wile E. Coyote
Oh
is.
yeah, yeah. Gareth West, shout out to him. He's bringing back the movie that Warner Brothers shelved a long time ago. Wile E. Coyote versus Acme. It's a fantastic film from what I've heard. I haven't seen it, but yeah, a good friend of mine I think bought the rights to like Looney Tunes, and he's just bringing it back. And I'm like, you're amazing. You're courageous.
Oh man, I love that.
Yeah, look up Gareth West, Ketchup Entertainment. He's doing great things.
What is it, Gareth?
Gareth West, Ketchup Entertainment. He's a bad mamma jamma. Great guy. Pardon me.
What's a dream project you haven't spoken about publicly because it feels too personal, too ambitious, or too sacred to risk being misunderstood?
I bought the rights to this book about Henry Starr, who robbed more banks than any man in America. And it is this incredible story that essentially starts as a Western and ends as like a 1920s mafia movie. He robbed more banks than any man in America. He made a movie about his life. He wrote a bestseller when he was in prison. First guy to ever use like a getaway car in a robbery. First guy to ever use a machine gun in a robbery. So many first, but also just has an incredible story. The Starr family was criminals. Belle Starr was his aunt. Just his whole family was like criminals, but he was not. But he was pegged to be one. So he's like, well, if I'm going to be a criminal, I'm going to be the best one there is, and literally rob more banks than anyone. Only person ever successfully robbed two banks at the same time during that time. His story is incredible, but I have a lot of American Indian heritage in my family. I don't know like what percentage I am or anything like that, but my mom's from Oklahoma. I know I'm Cherokee, Choctaw, and like Caddo Indian on my dad's side. And this guy was also half Native American, half white. And so they kind of pegged him as this person that, that he was already kind of, branded through life. And he just has this incredible story. And I've been working on trying to put this huge kind of, I don't know, I don't think it would go more than 8 episodes, but it's a one-off miniseries. And I've been working on it for several years. It hasn't been, it's not about getting this movie done. It's about getting it done right. And look, anybody can go make the Henry Starr film. You can make it off of a magazine article, but the book that I do have the rights to tells some really intricate stories by I think the author's name was Crowley. It's been so long, I need to go back and look. But I've had this movie. This is going to be that one that eventually, when it gets made, probably to a TV show, that'll be the one where it's like, I sat on this thing for 20 years. You know what I mean? So still hoping for that one, but I also have a cool werewolf movie that we'll talk about some other time. But Henry Starr would definitely be the one that's the dream project.
Tanner, I appreciate this. Thank you for being with us today on Power 98.5 Satellite Radio.
Yeah, thank you, man. Love talking movies. Appreciate it.
Any closing thoughts? Anything you want to retouch on before we close out the live?
Man, just if you're on the Instagram, guys, you don't need to follow me. I'm pretty boring, but it's at Tanner Beard. But follow at Silver Cell Entertainment. Check out Silver Cell Studios in Fort Worth coming up pretty soon. We're heading to the Dallas International Film Festival with Blood Behind Us and One in a Million. We got a really cool movie called Once Upon a Time in Texas hitting that in a couple months. So just stay followed up and keep loving independent films and supporting it. And thank you, Stephen.
Appreciate you. Stay with us. Going to close out right now. Thank you to everyone who's tuned in to Live on Air with Stephen Cuoco on Power 98.5 Satellite Radio. Also, Biz Talk Radio. All this and more on power985.com. Download the app. Tune in on Alexa. We are available also on Streama, MyTuner, Live FM Radio, and more. With us today, Mr. Tanner Beard, an Emmy-nominated actor, producer, director, and writer, has steadily built a multifaceted career in the entertainment industry, spanning film, television, and media production. As the CEO of Silver Sail Entertainment and co-founder of the Mammoth Film Festival, Beard's work has touched multiple genres from westerns to comedies. His influence continues to grow both in front and behind the camera. Latest and greatest available Live on Air with Stephen Cuoco on any of your favorite podcast platforms. I like to re-emphasize this is a radio show, not a podcast. We just happen to be there in case you miss opportunities like this to join us live on Power 98.5. Be well, live well, have a great day. Summer is approaching, and check out everything all Mr. Tanner Beard. Take care.
Empowering listeners from the US to the UK. Live on air with Stephen Cuoco.